Ooh, potion of resistance. Would you look at that? I gave all that time thinking to myself, do we need this? Do we not need it? I don't know. All to wind up being a bit of a non-issue. Also, forgot to magically map this floor until we were almost done it, but hey, wait's better than never, right? So let's head through there. Let's read another magic mapping first thing. Ooh, this one has a bit of an interesting vault structure of some kind to it. We'll give ourselves one more point in dex. Also, what's going on with our skills? Haven't been paying attention whatsoever to these. Fighting still going up, throwing still going up, and dodging. I mean, yeah, probably not bad. Dodging can maybe go off for now, and we'll go back to armor a bit. Invo, Evo, could potentially throw a little bit of use that way. But throwing and fighting is also a pretty solid combo. It's something that you usually don't mind training up until the very last moments of the game at the very least. Come on, surround me. I dare you, Draconian. Ha ha ha, you fool. You absolute fool. This is how we get our health back. The one time that one of these gosh darn mages actually does what we want for a change. You love to see it. And here I'm not paying nearly enough attention, or as much attention as I should be at the very least, because I'm tabbing through this at lightning speed, assuming that our consistent health regeneration through vampirism is enough to circumvent any and all problems. That's definitely not the case, especially as we reduce the number of overall enemies surrounding us. So I guess what you want, ideally, is a lot of enemies surrounding you, most of which aren't a direct threat to your survival, because then you're just using them as free popcorn to heal up off of. And that is what we love to see. But hey, still seems to be doing well enough in my books. I'm still just tapping my way through this with the occasional direction key thrown in just to take out whoever we're focused on. There we go. That's a good proof of concept at the very least, that even if we get surrounded, as long as they're not too frightening on an individual basis, we should be in an okay spot. Hello, you cursed toe, you stinky cursed toe. Get out of here. Perfect. Okie dokie. This floor is definitely going better than it otherwise might have seemed like it would from the start. I was actually concerned if we'd be surprised by that. I thought Zot was going to be a challenge. I shouldn't say stuff like this. As soon as I was saying it out loud, I was instantly regretting the amount of karmic overburden that we're putting on ourselves. But being a little bit cocky is never a horrible thing, as long as it's just a little bit. We're understanding of ourselves. Because overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer, but confidence slays. How long did it take me to get my first win? Oh, that is a great question. Also, nice to see you, Mark Moon. Hope you had a great day. But I would have to guess definitely multiple years, not of constant play. Because I think that when I first started playing, I probably played for a few solid months straight and kind of enjoyed it. I was doing a lot of flavor builds back then. That was back when transmuters were able to siphon the blood out of their enemies and turn it into potions that they could then launch at more enemies, and that was super fun. So I did that for the longest time without ever really caring about winning. I don't even think I got any ruins for my first years of playing. Instead would just constantly reroll new characters, giggling about it, having a good time. And then it probably would have been when I went back to the game in 2015, maybe? No, that seems wrong. Wow, I always say that I started playing this game in 2010, 2012, but I think it must have been earlier than that, because my time framing is all off in my head here. Regardless, I think on and off playing for 4 years. I think it was 3 years, 3.5 years until I got my first rune. And I will say on and off play just to give myself a little bit of an excuse for how long it took. But after getting to that point where I was starting to realize what the actual point of the game was and not just kind of having a silly fun time on my own, it wasn't too long, I think just a few months after that, that I finally got my first win, which was pretty huge. And I've said it in the past that it was the classic Berserker, but I realized upon thinking it through more that my second win was a Minotaur Berserker. My very first win, fittingly enough for the current run here, was a Gargoyle Fighter of Quaslaw. It was an absolute beast of a run though, absolutely like ridiculous defensive capabilities, and so that was the run where I was just constantly letting all the enemies come to me on any floor that we entered, having no problems whatsoever. I don't even think I used any of the god abilities. I think it was all just like tabbing throughout the entire thing. What was my handle online? I had never played online until this last tournament that happened. That was actually my first time giving a concentrated effort into playing online, so unfortunately don't have a good basis for how long I've played, which is probably a good reason why it might be nice to play online a bit more than I do currently. But I've never been too much of not a fan isn't the right word, because I am a fan of statistics, but I've never cared too much about statistics on a deeper level. So I've always been fine just playing to play and having a good time, enjoying the runs, sometimes fretting incessantly about the runs, of course, just the way that the cookie crumbles. And let's see, what was I about to do? Magic map was the reason why we backed off at the last second there. Definitely pop on that, and you know, if we're getting crowded right off the bat, nah, let's not have to worry about that. We can wait it out. Hopefully they come closer to us. Yes, beggars can be choosers. Let's start heading in, shall we? Definitely should be taking care of the Damnation Flinger first, just because while their allies are around to prevent them from using said Damnation attack. Nice opportunity at the very least. And let's go upstairs if we can. Perfect. Hello, friends. You're all living things that we can drink the blood out of. Perfect. We'll have to use Disaster Area pretty prodigiously in the lung section of the game. I think if we can retain all of our piety until then, that'll actually be a nice opportunity to really start putting the foot on the gas pedal and just taking care of as many problems in each go as we can. I don't know how well it will do against Orbs of Fire. It completely depends on what kind of elemental blasts hit them in particular, but ideally it will be enough, and it does again create enough clouds to bring in a veritable army of elementals on our side, so that's fantastic. Okie dokie. Just about there. Just need to clear our way through Zot itself. Hello, you dang old toe. Just hoping we wouldn't have to deal with too many torments. Drain life is 1d23, eh? Should still be good. Are you all living or dead? You're suffused with negative energy. While parasitic in life, undeath had granted it the ability. Damn it. Never mind. Oof. Oof. Oh man. Do I just go for the hit? If we get tormented once more, then we definitely are in a position to die here. Let's see. What are your odds of dodging? 5% chance to evade our Evening Star. Most likely dead in one hit. Do we really want to risk it all on that? Does that sound like a good idea? I don't know what other options we have besides using our only blink scroll, which this seems like a stupid situation to do that in. Mostly my fault, of course. I very much was the root cause of said stupidity. Alternatively, we could just go for a quick heal and hope that our clouds are dealing enough damage around us. I think we will do that. I'm gonna waste, quote-unquote waste, one more heal wounds potion. Didn't end up being necessary. If we'd just taken that swing a turn earlier, might have saved us the trouble, but we do what's safe rather than the most obvious path to victory. At least when we're this far into a run. I can convince myself of doing a whole lot of stupid things. if we're pre-Zot. But once we're in this section of the game, come on. We gotta at least try. And if that just makes it that much more embarrassing that this is me trying, so be it. Let's keep her going here. Just about through with Zot 4. And I am truly scared for Zot 5. It's going to be a wild ride, to say the least. Let's head down. Last magic mapping, rather. We'll give a nice wide berth to the lungs themselves, of course, like we do. And, there's a cursed toe. You son of a gun. Didn't even see you there. Well, that was a quick torment to hit us, at least letting us know of their presence. It's pretty sweet of them to do so. Very kind. And instead, let's go with a couple javelins to start off, see if that does the trick. It would be nice if the toe would move in a bit, sir. Please? Oh, okay. Never mind. No need. And because we're not taking any risks whatsoever, why even kill that draconian? Let's just head upstairs, heal up, re-engage. Perfect. Ooh, what are we looking at here? Just glowing, I guess, right? That makes sense. Usually we have to at least walk over things. Fire resistance. In another world, that might be necessary, but we are fortunate enough to be in a good place. I'm also hitting the tab key far more quickly than I should, because we do have to be aware that we haven't ran into any orbs of fire yet, and this is definitely the floor for them to appear, if not within the lungs themselves, sometimes at the very least, around the outskirts. We could always cross our fingers and hope that it's at the very least a low count of the number of sons of guns we have to deal with. Orbs of fire, that is. Let's be more explicit, shall we? Wow. You son of a gun. Into poison, fire, and negative energy, resistant to electricity and cold. So even slamming down with the storm of all storms probably isn't quite enough to deal with you, huh? Dang. Well, I've pushed this further than I should have and left myself in a horrifying situation. Because these buddies all have lower health than I expect, so we should probably try and kill some of them. So that was us getting racked by pain and life force being drawn from around us. What's your range on that? Oh, you don't do that, just you do. Oh, interesting. Just the death caps. Oh, because these buddies are alive. Huh. Okie dokie. Can definitely afford a heal wounds here. Dang it. Right, Zot trap. Gotta be kind of careful about that. Got lucky, I think, with the outcomes at the very least. Then let us bring in some elemental friends. Perfect. One step. I guess I never did check the range. I looked at you. Seems like that's just close range. Oh no, that might actually be sight ranged. That is scary. Well, time to throw far more resources than I'd like to at the problem. Oh, how fun. Gotta give each death toe their day in court, right? The player drained life is melee, so it could mean that. I would hope so, otherwise we might be in trouble here. Did at least seem to be the case. Let's take one more step. One more. Slowly but surely, we're out of sight of the cursed toe, which does mean we're at least not dealing with the constant torment here. And I'm so sorry, friends. Your sacrifice will be remembered, my elemental buddies. Well, let's try that again, shall we? Be a little bit more cautious and cognizant. We need to take out that toe in like the first few turns. Okay. Deep breath. Take a sip of the drink. You son of a gun. You son of a... Okay, I'm heading to my stairs then. At least summons can't follow us, so should be in a slightly better position here. if you want to just keep having me, we're fine with that. That's very cool. Let's see. Resistant to cold, but not immune, which means our Ice Blast would hit through it and get through... Oh, they have low evasion. They just have crazy AC. Oh, wow. In that case, let's do it the old-fashioned way. Blast them from the skies. And there we go. Way more trouble. And they should be. I muted at a bad time there. Felt a hiccup coming along and thought that it would make me say weird noises. Just gotta embrace it sometimes, though. This is what we've learned from that. Okie dokie. There's no time like the present to start heading down into the lungs, huh? Hello, friend. Guess we should switch back to our mace here. We do have a decent position. In terms of if we can call all the enemies out here, that's not the end of the world. Come one, come all. Ooh, both sides are trapped, of course. Wouldn't have it any other way, game. We're hearing roars, deafening roars, more roars. Are you kids coming or what? Apparently we're making a ruckus, but not enough for them to actually come the right way. Granted, maybe it's a bit confusing rather. Who knows what kind of crowds they're all hanging out in. But let's see, this one is at least possible for us to walk through. I don't think I want to go through the alarm trap. That seems like absolute madness. Even though, could cancel it, I guess, and at least gets rid of the trap. Unfortunately, there are just a whole lot of alarm traps in general in this lung. And you know, what I'm doing now is something that I feel like I haven't taken advantage of enough in the past. I usually just rush into a lung based on, oh, no trap at that entrance, let's just do it, go for it. But what I really should do is zoom out like this, take a good look at all the traps, and decide on which side is more liable to get me killed on the first attempt. Because this side has more Zot traps in it for sure, slightly fewer alarm traps, but also not very many permanent teleport traps, which are as good of an escape for me as they are for getting rid of enemies. So it is kind of weird. I mean, the one time I decided to do this and give a bit of an evaluation, it seems like they're fairly well balanced, just in different categories, which is interesting. You actually like popping alarm near a stair if you can, empty the lungs to me. Definitely not a bad idea. I've had it backfire in my face a couple times, which is why I'm hesitant to engage in the same plan here. But I would definitely agree with you on principle, at the very least. And I think I'm letting my own personal experiences and anecdotal experience, that is, color my opinions on the efficacy of the strat. I guess not even just my personal opinions necessarily, but also that of Ultraviolent 4. She's a really fantastic YouTuber who streamed this game on YouTube, I believe, but all their videos are still online. If you haven't checked out their videos before, I'd highly recommend trying it out. But there's a classic meme in their community that's all about how often they'll tell themselves, like, okay, no, this is a strategic plan. It's going to be perfect. We're going to go through it. No problems whatsoever. And then the minute that they stepped onto said trap, everything just started going tumbling downhill. Rip Ultraviolent, not dead, just busy, I think. Yeah, no, and I'm very happy that they're moving forward with their own life, I would assume. Making sure things are going well in that regard. I respect that a whole lot. But I do agree. It was a great companion for me back in the day. Back when, I feel like when I first came back to DCSS in this last go-around is when I started really watching their content and absolutely loving the crap out of it. So I'd already missed the train by that stage, but that is all good. So we could, yeah, go for that alarm trap, because I do slightly agree with you there, Coville. We might got an alarm on our hand, whether we like it or not. Might be nice to get it under our own capabilities and by our own hand instead of waiting for it to happen with enemies. Not wrong about that. Hey, Ninth Settler, it's been a bit here. Nice to see you around, though. Hope your own crawling has been going well in the last while. And your outside life, too, of course. That's super important. Hope that's been fantastic. But it is great to see you. Okie dokie. So this is where we could go with the alarm trap play. The only one available to us is over here, which isn't fantastic position, but not horrible either. I'm very much going to regret this, but might be the way to go. Weed out the vault a bit, shall we? Let's make some noise. We'll even just step on this stairway and see what comes at us, shall we? We can just take them out kind of one by one, or at least in small batches. That will be something. Urzot hit like 10 killer clowns, and at one point you were wisped and a negative potion. It was funky. Oh, geez. Yeah, we were just talking about how so many of the killer clown transformations completely screwed me over in the past, turned me into a bat. It's a sensitive wound, to say the least. But okie dokie, I think I'm going to test out a disaster area. Not fully necessary to cast it yet, but I'm very curious about its effectiveness against the Orb of Fire before they get up into melee range. So let's check it out. The Orb Guardian is heavily wounded. That's fine. Orb Guardians are all dying like flies. Ooh. That was pretty good. Okay. I can dig that. And so, you are immune to electricity. You are indeed. That's a shame too bad. That's fine though. We'll switch over to our Wand of Acid. Fire that away. Now I'm hoping that between my buddy and I will have enough firepower. Oh gosh, buddy's already dead, but I should still have enough firepower to finish this fight. There we go, Orb of Fire down. And that was a good tester run. A good opportunity to see just how effective we are in that combination. And is this where I retreat? Oh, I'm paralyzed, so I don't get an option. Oh gosh, that's scary. You know what? I definitely don't want to face more of you than I have to. So let's pop up here, and we could even use a teleport to diffuse the situation even more. Just in case another paralysis happens, I think I will do so. And we can ideally... Oh, do you know what? Apparently I'm just going to get out of here in one piece. That's fine. That works for me too. I just wanted to heal up was the main thing. Perfect. I guess in general, Ninth Settler, did you manage to eke out a victory at the end of the day there? I sure hope so, but you never know how these things will end. And you did? That's awesome to hear. Always happy to hear about a victory from somebody in the crowd. That's actually 2 of you already today. So it seems like there's some good mojo in the air when it comes to our DCSS play today. Let's hope that we can capitalize on that, eh? Ah, hello, Orb of Fire. Well, do I want to back myself into a corner? Not really. But it looks like that's what we're doing, no? You have a streak of 3 now. Ooh, that's awesome. Congrats. Can definitely appreciate that. It's been a little bit since we were able to find ourselves with a good streak going. This is our first attempt in a little bit to do so, even. I'm hoping that we might be able to pull through in such a way. 2 14 rune Hot Hells run as well. One with melee, which was off on, one with mage, significantly easier, and also after Hot Hells were nerfed. Palentonga, you won yesterday. That's awesome. So Hot Hells is the current lingo for the new like trunk additions or changes to the Hells, right? Because that's very fascinating for sure. The Hell rework, yes, very cool. 14 runes, that's an odd number to go for. I'm guessing that's no tomb. I had to throw a hypothesis out there. So I can definitely understand and feel that to a large degree here. Let's switch over to our axe and try and heal back some of the damage as we deal it. How are we doing on mutations as well? We are weak, we scream, magic capacity is low. Don't mind that. Seems like most of our forces got taken out. The forces that we brought in with the summoning scroll, that is, which is a shame, too bad, but hey, still doing okay here, managing to heal back about as much damage as we're taking, it seems. Mutations notwithstanding, of course, but if things get too bad in that department, we have a decent number of potions lying around, just waiting for us to make use of them. Perfect. You don't do tomb ever since the dispersal trap incident during the tournament? I can definitely respect that. Wasn't there for the incident in question, but I know the feeling all too well. All it takes is one dispersal trap for things to just absolutely cascade into a comedy of errors, or oftentimes a not so comedic series of errors. That's somewhere that I'm worried about in our upcoming 15-room runs that we're going to be starting out on Tuesday. I'm very concerned about my tomb abilities because it has been a decent while since I made the tomb run. I'm hoping it all comes back fairly straightforward. It should be like riding a bike, right? That's the dream, at least. Tomb can be annoying, and yeah, you got instantly double dispersal as soon as you entered, and we're in the middle of 50+ mummies and mummy summons. Yeah, I can imagine. The combo dispersal traps that get you, where they just bounce you around to a ridiculous degree. Oh gosh, am I just screwed here? Please don't step out, please don't step out. Perfect. That's not the alarm trap we want to set off. Instead, we probably have cleared off most of this area, so I think I'm happy to start heading off into this lung here. This is where our previous alarm trap was most likely heard and called to, so does seem like it's a slightly easier batch of enemies than we otherwise might have expected to show up in this instance, so I'll take it. Switch over to vampirism, see how we handle a crap ton of orb guardians. Apparently pretty well is the answer that I was looking for. Love to see it. Yeah, I think the last time that I did a tomb run, it didn't go super fantastically. I ended up getting a series of dispersal traps paired with some bad net traps that just busted me up and did a horrible amount of work on me. It was a run that I very much should have been able to get through without too much trouble. But unfortunately, I feel like I just got in a panic state the second I kept getting hit by nets left and right. So I just was not thinking on my toes whatsoever, and that unfortunately led to a pretty brutal defeat. Gonna chug a might potion here real quick, try and amplify our damage. Fortunately, we're still healing up a decent amount. A torment might change that. Don't love to see that. Oh gosh. Oh, are we gonna die in one turn? Got closer than I would like. Oh me, oh my. This might just be a blink onto a teleport trap scenario. Wouldn't bring us out of the run. Oh, we're paralyzed. Oh, we might just be dead. Not after all this. Come on, please. Paralysis, stop. No. Oh my gosh, I was not giving enough credence to the paralysis and the willpower needed. Oh, that is very unfortunate. Big oops indeed. Oh no, dear. Thank you for the sympathies. Oh, that was stupid. Kind of forgot that paralysis was even an issue. I went through so much of this run with low willpower that was not on my radar whatsoever. Liches are no joke, indeed. No, I definitely should have been paying a bit more attention. Could have thrown out a series of disaster areas immediately upon seeing them, and they probably would have been dead already. But unfortunately, that is the crux of yet another stupid death, is usually when you die in this game, you were doing something kind of stupid. And so we were, completely forgetting to give deference to the enemies that so deserve it. Oh, Dongus. I had so much hope. I believed. Such a shame, too bad. But it brought us to exactly 0 health, it looks like. Which, hey, that's a rarity in its own. Silver linings and all that. Unfortunately, we had some supplies in our inventory that would have gone us through. Oh, shed a tear for poor old Dongus. I knew him well. But that is alright. These things do happen, at the very least. And what I always like to say is this isn't the first time that I've died in such a stupid way. And this definitely isn't the last time that we'll find ourselves dying in such a stupid way. My only regret is for poor old Dongus. First of his name. No, Dongus. Yeah, Babs, I picked your name, and we were just at the end. We should have done it. We could have pulled through. But I'm so sorry. Dongus' life thrown to the wayside by just negligence for the most part. Which isn't a good reason, I know. Sorry to say it to your face, but that is all good. Of course, we will happily be back in it with another Palentonga. And in fact, as much as I was remiss to do so and was hoping that it wouldn't be the case, we do have a couple of names even waiting in the back line here. Either Centaur or Harry Trotter, both of which I really like. So we do have some backups for just such an occasion. Sorry to hear it, but this will be our final goodbye to Dongus the Hawkeye, once the end of an era as a title, which was also fantastic. The one true champion of Quaslaw. May he rest in peace. Riot! Oh, I definitely deserve to have a riot stormed against me for throwing away such a promising buddy. But hey, again, these things happen. Having a great time, losing at the very least. That's always part of the fun here. In fact, I think we may be at just about the end of our night. Surviving that desolation only to die in Zot, right? And even if we had not gone into the desolation, I don't know if it would have helped us out much because I didn't get the opportunity to blink there. Instead, I just stupidly let myself get paralyzed while surrounded by high-tier endgame enemies. Hurrah! But that is all good. The desolation, the survival, it's all part of the story, the grand narrative that we weave. And when Dongus's body is found, his journals recovered, it will be a story, a tale of epic proportions to bring back to his hometown. Sleepy old town, a sleepy little town, out in the woods or on the prairies somewhere. Where do Palentongas live? I don't know, they're a weird amalgamation of different types of animals, because we're part pangolin, right? Hold up. Very quick, very important aside. Pangolin habitat. Let's all learn together here real quick, shall we? Found in a variety of habitats, including tropical and flooded forests, thick brush, cleared and cultivated areas, savanna grassland. Huh. So it wasn't too far off. Probably some nice thick tropical forests somewhere, in India or Africa. It looks like the highest densities are. We'll go back, send the journal back to his family. I died to a lich. You don't think there's going to be a body? Oof. Not wrong. But hey, maybe the journal survived? Come on, please. We need some source, some message to be passed on. Think of his children. His children, Coville. They must know what happened to their father. But okay. I think that'll definitely be where we put a pin in it for the great player species on its own. Maybe to do a quick cool off, we'll run in for some arena fun because there's something that I've briefly mentioned on stream, enjoyed talking about, but haven't had the chance to show off. And that is my new discovery on some fun arena builds to try out. Or not arena, sorry, dungeon sprint. Those are the things. So most specifically, Arena of Blood here. If you're ever looking for a way to cool off, vent some steam after a really intense finish on a game, I'd highly recommend jumping into Arena of Blood with the Genie Warper. Super fun. You want to start with Axe, and we can do our little demo man. Oh, whoops. Right, can't do spaces when things are selected. Oh no. It's too late, I've already selected. Whatever, we'll do Demo Man. Perfect. Send them in. And so, it's a very straightforward process. If you haven't played this specific dungeon sprint before, we immediately get absolutely surrounded by bags of meat that are super high level, very strong enemies that will come crowding in around us. So, fortunately, we have this beautiful Axe of Woe, a plus infinity weapon of destruction here. So all that we must do is quickly worship at Maklib's altar here. Oh, and then we immediately die. These things happen though, and this is all part of the plan here because we jump right back into it. And yeah, you have to get lucky on the initial spawns here, making sure that you don't get hit by a berserked buddy before you get the opportunity to return damage back. But this is where you want to take a step, Sir, are you gonna meet up to us? Perfect. And here's what you want. A scenario where you're right next to an enemy. Oh, wielding the wrong axe because I'm stupid. Never mind, this is bad, and I should feel bad. You know what? Fine. We're gonna blink once, I believe. This is just meant for a demo purpose anyway. We're not gonna go for any high scores today, I don't think. But what you need is to be able to kill one of them. You should get an instant kill. And of course, the second we try and show this off is when everything just goes to absolute hell. And even with the deaths, because it's so fast and such a quick reset, I do still find this to be a fun little reprieve from the usual stressors of a run. Of course, I did immediately make the same mistakes because being on camera apparently gets to me more than I thought it did. But here we go. You need to be able to get one kill. You're making me look bad, demo man. But we give this one more try. Oh, so embarrassing. Genie, Warper, Hand Axe. Pliz? Pliz? We'll name him that. Maybe that will cause the RNG to look very favorably upon us. Because I swear, this gets out of control real quick. You just need to get one kill. Survive it. Okay, this is the one. You immediately will gain multiple levels. And because you're a Warper and you're a Genie, you immediately learn all the spells at your disposal. So we have Manifold Assault with a plus infinity Axe of Woe. So what we want to do here is slap everything on our screen at once. And this is where things start to be fun, and you just absolutely rampage your way through most of the fighting. Until things start to come in that are invisible, you have no problems whatsoever dealing with all the bags of meat, and so you just continue on. And I think this is the strategy that a lot of people have been using lately to get unbelievably high scores. I think you end up rolling back around into the negatives when you're able to pull this off. But yeah, a whole lot of fun. Definitely would recommend it to anyone if you want something a little more carefree, lackadaisical than your average DCSS run. It's just a good excuse to get in, do some slashing, do some bashing, and have a good time with it. But that is all we'll do for now, because it does just go on infinitely long, essentially. Until you, run into some stronger enemies, and even then, you just have to start slashing away naturally. If we take a look, Kira the Second here is one of my better attempts to go through, and is quite far along, I think, in terms of scores, so we'll see where they end up. But regardless, that was just a nice little deviation, a nice little show and tell of something that I've had a lot of fun doing in my spare time. If you just have like 5 or 10 minutes, not enough time to go into a full run, it's a good excuse to just get into the game a little bit at the very least. But this will be where we call it for the night. I do want to do one more quick announcement of our Tuesday plans, because this Tuesday, in a couple days here, we're doing a bit of a dual celebration. We're going to be having a birthday stream, and to pair that up with, we're going to be doing a belated celebration to our passing of 100 followers on Twitch. So that's going to be when we're going to start up on some 15 rune runs, trying our very best to see some real progress into the later parts of the game. Very excited for it, but if you out there, all you lovely folks, have any suggestions of combos that you'd really like to see played in that capacity, definitely let me know. DM me on Twitch, comment on any of the YouTube videos, however you think is best for getting in contact. Let me know what you'd want to see, and we'll happily do that. If not, I'm happy to also, of course, come up with my own combos. Hey, Coville, you might have meant that as a joke, but I'm taking it seriously. Phala Transmuter, that's #1 run, and we'll see how far we get with it. It's Coville 9-1 Village Transmuter. Perfect. And then 9th Settler also coming in with Ogre, Ice Elementalist. Don't mind if I do. Name those after you two. And hey, if we die right away, that's fine. There's always another run. We can always switch to using something like a Gargoyle or a Knoll, something I'm a bit more comfortable with when things get desperate. Until then, let's just have fun with it. Have a good time. Definitely if you're free, I'd love it if you showed up. Shout out, hang around and chat, have a good time. Should be a lot of fun. Cat turning into a dragon does sound fun when you put it that way. How can we not do it? Now we have to survive until the point where we can turn our cat into a dragon. But of course, only Tuesday will tell. And yeah, I'm excited to see a bunch of you out there, and it should be a good time. I think that there won't be any of my PSAs onto YouTube by the time it comes around, but that should be fine. I definitely just appreciate being able to see what happens, and even getting these couple of runs here, it gives us a nice little launch pad into starting off with some good silly fun and all that good stuff. But speaking of fun, I obviously had a fantastic time despite the death of poor old Dongus. I absolutely loved playing today. It was a bit of a struggle at times, which is usually when the DCSS feels best, is when you're actively putting yourself into risky situations, or not putting yourself, but finding yourself in risky situations and being able to fight your way out of it. It's one of the more satisfying parts about the game. I hope you enjoyed watching as well, of course. That's always very important to me. And yeah, I greatly appreciate everyone who shows up in chat, outside of chat, you know, you lurkers out there. I absolutely appreciate and love and adore the attention that's in my way. And I guess I keep saying appreciate, but it's my go-to word for this thing because it sums up my feelings most effectively. Anyway, before I stumble through too much more of an awkward goodbye, I'll just give one last thank you to all you lovely folks out there for letting me do this at all and joining us along for the ride. Yeah, if you haven't already and you're just joining us for the first time, I definitely would appreciate the follow on Twitch. Be notified whenever we go live, especially for special days like this Tuesday, when we're jumping in kind of outside of our normal schedule. But if not, that's all good too, and we'll see you around either on Tuesday when we're jumping into those 15 rune runs, on Wednesday when we're playing through the final chapter of Life is Strange, which should be pretty exciting and fun. Definitely looking forward to some resolutions there myself. Don't know how it's all going to end up. I can't imagine anything but terribly, but we'll have to see. Or next Sunday when we're jumping back into it, jumping in with a new Palentonga, either named Centaur with an S or Harry Trotter. We'll make up our decision at runtime. And yeah, greatly appreciate it and hope to see you then. I'll see you soon. Also, we will quickly find somebody to raid on the Twitch side of things. That's always important, isn't it? Always forget to segue into that in a smooth, graceful manner, and instead I like to do this kind of awkward, drawn-out process. But perfect. It looks like Crimson Spartan right now is playing some Bioshock Infinite, so I'd highly recommend heading over, especially if you're at all frustrated with how this run ended up with seeing a death live on screen here. Definitely head over because Crim has a very welcoming community, fantastic people, such a good presence, and is one of the more relaxing streams to watch. I would highly recommend sticking around until then. But thank you all so much, and I hope to see you soon. See ya.